Today we will talk about 18FT-021 International Social Compliance. In that, the Unit 1 will talk about the elements of social compliance. Now, when you are talking about the elements of social compliance, it covers various aspects, that is the labor, that is type of different labor forces, then wages, remunerations, discriminations, health and safety issues, then collective bargaining. So, similar way, lot of such elements are covered under the social compliance issues. Now, we will talk today about the lesson 1, that is the types of labor force. When you are talking about the labor force, as in the apparel industry, you can easily understand that it is a labor intensive industry. So, a lot of labor force is required for cart sewing and finishing operations. The processes are not automized so far. That's why it is all driven by human being. So, manual operators are required for running those sewing machines or the cutting machines or the pressing machines. So, obviously, there will be the requirement of different labor forces. Now, let us see what are those types of labor forces are available in the garment industry or used by different factories. For an example, if we see this particular figure, it talks about a garment industry wherein a person is working and seems to be at a very lower age kind of thing, not a matured enough from the age point of view. So, this type of labor force also is there in the garment industry. So, we will try to categorize those kind of labors which are available in the industry. Now, coming into the compliance part of a garment factory. So, we talk about the compliance in the workplace, and this is required because a buyer, when placing order to a garment factory for millions of dollars of garments, so first the buyer will see whether the social compliance issues are all fulfilled, rather the different elements of social accountability are satisfied. Now, question comes, that's why these social compliance issues are important and what do we mean by the compliance in the workplace. Now, there are two ways it can be said, that one is the action of complying with a command, okay, and the second one is the state of meeting rules or standards, okay. So, both way it is important. Now, when you are talking about a command kind of thing, there must be some instruction, okay, you need to follow those instruction. Then there are certain standards available, like when you are talking about the social compliance standards, so there are SA 8000. So, in that fashion, the particular factory has to meet certain rules or the standards. So, compliance means in the workplace either to comply with the command or the instruction and to follow the rules or standards. Now, when you are talking about such compliance, definitely laws, regulations, standards and ethical practices will come into the picture, and we need to satisfy everything. Then only we can say that garment industry is compliant. Now, there are certain business ethics are also available for this purpose. Question comes, why it is then important? Social compliance is important because it takes care of health, safety, rights, community and the environment. So different aspects, health aspects are involved here. Then safety issues, you can see the wire mesh gloves are available. Then safety issues taken care of, like a fire extinguishers are there. In that fashion, there are lot of other gadgets are used by a particular garment factory worker. Mask is one of them. Then sometimes they use the goggles also, because the needle if breaks and it comes out, so then the eye must be protected into that. So there are a lot of safety issues, health issues, those things are covered under this. And apart from that, that community and the environment also takes a role. Now, what is social compliance? Social compliance is nothing but the compliance in employee wages, working hours, conditions, environmental laws, etc. Everything must be fulfilled in this social compliance. So working conditions plays an important role to it. Now let us see the types of labor force. When you are talking that child labor is one of the big problem in the garment industry, and this particular activity chart, you can see that child labor is involved in many activities, many household activities, outside activities, okay. So those kind of areas where child labors are getting used, and whether is it a desirable one, child labor in the garment industry or not. So those things we will see that. Before that, let us see what do we mean by the child labor. Now child labor is involved in the work that deprives the children of their childhood, their potential, dignity, okay, and if they are engaged in certain activities, physical and the mental development will be definitely hampered into this. So those kind of work that deprives them from their childhood, that is called the child labor. Now International Labour Organizations or ILO, they also defined the child labor, okay. Suppose when a child is working during an early age, or overworks, gives overtime to the labor, then the works due to psychologically, socially and materialistic pressure, ready to labor on a very low pay. So all these issues, the ILO recognize them that yes, if this is done, then it is a child labor, okay. Now what is the main reason? Poverty is the main reason. That driving force compels the children to work like a labor and earn a little money at the end of the day. So unemployment of the elders in the family, that is also one of the reasons why the children are going for labor act or going for the industry to do certain works. Now parental illiteracy comes into play. This illiteracy is there in the developing countries like Pakistan, India, Bangladesh, etc., and facing a huge problem, and many different class of people, illiterate people are involved into this, and those parents send their children to the field, to the garment industry, etc. Failure of the laws, that is also there. Different types of child labor, if you try to classify, child laborers are there in the agriculture, carpet weaving, soccer balls, then automobile industries, mining, stone marble cutting, etc. Carpet weaving is one of them. It is the most popular export from Pakistan. Agriculture work, yes, 70% of the child laborers work in the agriculture, fishing, forestry, etc. Soccer ball manufacturing, this is half of the world's soccer balls are made in Pakistan, and 35 million soccer balls are made in Pakistan, and childrens make a quarter of them. So this is the scenario. And when children are engaged in such kind of work, so their mental maturity will be hampered, because like a automobile industry or any engineering industry, when they are working as a laborer, so a lot of lead is getting leached out from the products. So those goes into the children's mouth or nostril areas, and when it enters into the bloodstream, the mental maturity level is getting hampered. So that is the area actually is a great concern is there for that purpose. Now this symbol, you can understand that it is a kind of bonded labor or the forced labor kind of thing. So forced labor, when you are talking, it is nothing but a prolonged compulsory work is given, and different activities is shown in the figure. The cleaning of the house, okay, doing some sorts of washing, okay, some other activities are also involved in the forced labor. You can see the agricultural field, especially in the cotton cultivation area, lot of such forced labors are getting used. So garment industry, they are not only having the child labor but also the forced labor and bonded labor, those are also there. Examples of the forced labor in the apparel industry when you are talking, yes, there are various ways, like a company bus that will not leave on time, and it forces the labor to wait for the bus, and they are engaged in forced overtime due to this. Now there are examples like when the quota of the day is fixed, that this much amount of work you have to finish. If it is not done, okay, you have to stay back and do the work. Then there are educational qualification and experience certificates which are deposited to the factory, and factory owner, they retain them. So these also become a forced labor. There are various such examples, retention of the passport of the employees also one of them. Then there are workers who are working in the locked area. So garment manufacturing unit, they lock the gate so that workers cannot come out from that working area. So they are forced to do the work. There are examples where the security guards are also there. Workers are inside and security guards are specially recruited to see that workers cannot come out from the factory. So this is also examples of the forced labor. Sometimes the hospitals are there inside the factory, so workers cannot go outside. That is also an example of the forced labor. So this is available in different factories. Then bonded labor is nothing but a slavery, okay, security against a loan or inherited debt from a relative, those comes under this bonded labor category. And when the workers repays the debt, employer continues to add additional expenses. So those laborers become the bonded labor for the factory. So in this particular session, the lesson of type of labor force, we have seen that child laborers are involved, forced laborers, and the bonded laborers. Child laborers can be there in apparel, carpet, and different areas. ILO conventions are there for the forced labor and the bonded labor. So thank you very much, students. Thank you.